Hey guys, happy Homebrew Wednesday. How are we getting on? It's been a while since you've seen me, really. I haven't done a Homebrew Wednesday for about a month. I do apologise for that. I've been quite flat out actually, and had a few, family stuff. And so, what could I do? What could I do? Just couldn't make it happen. I know it doesn't take much to sit in front of an iPad and do a wee video, but so sorry about that, guys. But just sometimes work and family life just take precedent. But anyway, moving right along. What have I been up to? Well, I think the last time we talked about my Imperial Red beer, so that's keg and been drunk. And I didn't bother reviewing it. I need to brew that again. I'll make quite a few tweaks to it. I've been researching and working out why I got such a high gravity, final gravity on that, and I believe it's because I used a crap load of crystal malt to get that really dark red colour. So I used 1.8 kgs of Gladfield's dark crystal malt in that brew, and ale malt was the rest. So I'm pretty sure that would contribute to the high final gravity, as well as I don't believe I aerated the wort as much. I fermented in my 23 litre glass carboy. By the way, I don't like fermenting in those. I don't like using it at all. I'd rather use a plastic bucket than one of those. I just find it's just hard work. Hey, that's me on them. I know a lot of you guys love them. They're not for me. I'll still keep mine. I think now that I've got my Malt Mechanics 60 litre fermenter, which I'm planning to do a coffee stout again, my coffee stout, and I'd like to try a few different coffees. So I might split the double batch, chuck it in and chuck half of it in that once it's fermented, add a different coffee to it. So that's what I'll primarily use that glass carboy now for when I'm experimenting with different flavours and brews. I also brewed, while I've been away, a punk IPA as well, for the second time, and I have just started using, I've done it for 2 brews now, using gelatin, unscented, unflavoured gelatin. Man, crystal clear beers, makes your beers really bright. One teaspoon, I've been using 1 teaspoon to 250 grams, heating it up to about 65 degrees, so it's nice and clear. Adding that to a full keg, putting CO2 on the top of it, taking out all the air, giving it a good shake up. Boom. Nice clear beers. Another wee tweak that I've made, I know a lot of you have been using gelatin for ages. I've primarily used isinglass. But I've been finding as my beers are getting hoppier and hoppier, they're getting hazier and hazier. So the gelatin just really clears all that up, I find anyway. Right. What else? As you've seen from my last video, I've got a 60 litre Malt Mechanics fermenter. So I have got a brew in there at the moment. I did a 48 litre batch of supercharger. It's a double batch for me on supercharger. A friend of mine wanted to go in halves with me, so I thought, rightio, fair enough, we'll go in halves. So one keg's for him, 1 keg's for me. So that'll work out alright. After this week talkie, we'll take you over and I'll show you my wee setup of the 6 litre fermenter. I was a bit worried about it actually, to be honest with you. New brew gear, using a new brew gear and a double brew, so it's quite an expensive brew. And you're just hoping everything's going to go right, You get a bit nervous, especially when you're doing something new. But it's been fantastic. It has been fantastic. I don't know, is it the shape of a conical fermenter or anything that makes them ferment really well? I don't know, maybe it's just my imagination, but it is fermenting fantastically. Really strong fermentation. When I take over, and we'll show you inside the new fermenting fridge and all the rest of it, I'll show you, and I'll go through things that I don't particularly, which I think could have been better with it. There's not a lot. On the whole, I'm very happy with it, but there's just there's two things which I would have quite liked to be, for it, to me, to be a better user experience. But yeah, it's minor. So, hey, I'm rambling now. I really haven't got a lot for you. So, I'm going to stop this here, and we'll restart over at the fermenting fridge, and we'll go through my wee setup in there, and what I'm going to do to transfer the beer. Because obviously, now that I've got all this beer in there, it's heavy, and I'm not going to risk lifting it out, poor old back, or or having a disaster of spilling it, or knocking it over or something. How am I going to get it out of there? Because gravity won't be my friend at the moment. So we'll talk to you once we get over there, and we'll go through all that, eh? Cool. See you soon. Alrighty, guys. So this is the beast in the fermenting fridge. Look at that. She just fits in, guys. Just fits in. Look at the bottom there. Look at that little base I made. As you can see, that leg. I've modified the fridge so it fits in, and she fits in with not much room to spare. So let's go a bit closer, eh? And I'll explain what I've done here. As you can see, I've got the blow-off tube going on. Let's go a bit closer here. Sorry about the light. She's a bit grim in this garage at the moment. That strong fermentation going there. So I brewed this on Friday night. It's Tuesday night at the moment. And Saturday, it was going nuts on Saturday. And it's been going, that is actually it slowing down. So as you can see at the top there, Nick, she's burst, she had starseed all up the top there. So yeah, so let's go up to the top of this here. As you can see, we've got a good 3 litre Kreuzen there, so a good strong Kreuzen. I used 4 packets of USO5, and they were rehydrated, and also about half a litre of wort added to them before I pitched. It only had wort there for about half an hour before it was actually pitched into the main brew. But it helped to be honest, it started to bubble about 2 hours after pitching, so that was good, really good. Right, so let's come up to the base here. Look at all my thread tape and everything. Right, as you can see, I've got a 90-degree elbow, and then a nipple on the end there, going on down to my blow-off tube, which will also connect to my gas line once I'm ready to do a pressure transfer. I use about 1 to 2 psi to push this into kegs. So, oh, did you hear that? So coming back down to the base again. So obviously I'll put a nipple or a barbed end onto this port here. Not the bottom port, obviously, because there'll still be troop in there. As you see, the troop line is just about at the level of, just below the level of the second port at the moment. Now I know from the top port to the bottom port is about 2.5 litres of liquid. So so subtract that off how much I've got in there at the moment. So yeah, so I'll just be having a nipple on there, obviously a hose clamp and some beer line, and going into the kegs, and I'll push through what I need to push through. Because obviously now that it's in here, I wouldn't do that, because it would just be too heavy to move out and try to move to a high position to use gravity. This way I can actually do a closed transfer as well, so no air. The first time I do it won't be a closed transfer, a totally closed transfer. It will be as far as this fermenter's concerned, but into the keg itself I'll have the lid open and the hose right at the bottom. But going forward, I'll use a liquid post, a liquid disconnect, you know, the black one, connect it into the liquid and transfer it that way. but for the first time I won't do that. But right, let's just go through a couple of things that I think would make life a bit easier with this machine, or fermenter. One is the thermal well. See there, I've got a little stopper on there, so I've got my temperature control probe in the thermal well, but it kept falling out, or not falling out, but coming near the edge of the thermal well, so it wasn't accurate. So all I've got there is I've got a wee stopper in there to stop it coming out. It's a nice generous hole, so it'll take all different types of temperature probe, which is good. But you need a stopper there to stop it coming out and to be an accurate temperature control. That's one. Second one, there's only two, is that see these markings on here? They're really hard to read. I wish they were painted blue. That's all. That is all my gripes with this thing. Everything else, sweet as. So that's pretty minor, isn't it, guys? Now, I must say the heat belt on there is working a treat of keeping that temperature nice and stable. When I started to ferment, it was a bit of some swings there, and that heat belt was, I thought it wasn't up to the job. But what I did is I put on the heating side of my temperature controller, I chucked a double plug outlet, and I put my heat pad connected onto it as well, and then put that I put that on the base of it. So with those two heat sources, it stabilised the temperature, and then I took it away, and we were so it was only for the first 12 hours that we had a few swings. It went down to 17.5 and then up to 21.5. But once I got that heat pad in there and it sorted it all out and it got it all stable, haven't had a problem since. So we're still fermenting at 19 degrees at the moment. So yeah, so she's all good. That's all I've got to say about it, really. I can't think of anything else. It's a great product, and you know, these conical fermenters, they're just great. They're absolutely fantastic. I don't know if it's I just had a really healthy dose of yeast and some really highly fermentable wort, but it's one of the best fermentations I've ever had. Yeah. So guys, that's me. Enough yibber yabbering from me. I hope you got something out of this. And if you're thinking about buying one of these Malt Mechanics fermenters, go for it. They're blooming great. Alright fellas, see you later. Bye bye.